I would say training is definitely one of the most important things. Despite you've done so many great work in Business Central for your customer, if you don't have a very good training and also testing stage in your project delivery, that could potentially lead to a huge failure.
Hello, everyone. This is another episode of Dynaway Dialogues. We're very pleased to have Tony Qian here from Microsoft, and today we're going to talk a little bit about your role, Tony, in Microsoft with Business Central, and we're very excited to have you here. I want to make sure I get this correct. Your title is Partner Solution Architect for the Americas at Microsoft, and you work primarily with D365 Business Central, and I just wanted to say welcome.
Thank you, Jesse, for having me here. Hello, everybody. My name is Tony Qian, as Jesse was saying. I'm the Partner Solution Architect for business applications, specifically focusing on the America region, working on the Business Central side of business. So very happy to be here to have this conversation with you, Jesse.
Excellent. Thanks. Well, maybe a little background would be good. What got you started with Microsoft? What kind of inspired you to get into the Microsoft ecosystem?
Yes, absolutely. So I was in the entrepreneur program while I was in school. So I learned a little bit of how you can start a business, do all of those good things. And I was lucky enough after I graduated, I joined a Microsoft partner here in Toronto, Canada. Learned about business applications starting on the CE side and then Power Platform and then Business Central. And I was doing all of those projects hands-on. And then I got a chance to join Microsoft to work alongside the partners. So my role kind of shifted from one side of the table to the other side of the table. And yeah, all my passion, all my career is about business application. I just feel like business application is the place where you get started to streamline your business processes. And I think every company needs a business application product. It could be CRM, it could be ERP. So yeah, I just like what I do. I like this community. Business application is definitely a great place to be.
Gotcha. So you have experience on the partner side, and then on the Microsoft side, working with partners. What's that like? How do you partner with partners to make their role easier and make their job easier when they're working with clients?
Yeah, so one of the advantages that I have is I worked on the partner side. I did all of those projects. I worked with the customers, understood their business processes, and helped them to customize business applications. So now on the Microsoft side, I get to talk to those partners to understand their pangs and their obstacles while talking to the customers, right? And it helps me to sort of relate to their problems. It's always easy for me to sort of understand the issues they're having right now. So kind of allow me to speak the same language as they do. And then look into the issues that they have with the customers.
Gotcha. That's fantastic. I can see that you have a lot of certifications. I'll read a few of these: Power Platform Solution Architect Expert, Power Platform App Maker Associate, Microsoft Certified Trainer. What's been most impactful in your role? How do those certifications really impact your expertise with partners and customers?
Yeah, so it's actually I would say there's two different things that came from all of those certifications. While I was on the partner side, while I was doing all of those projects, all of those I would say app-specific certifications, they helped quite a bit. They always kept me up to the date. They allow me to talk to the customers and introduce all of those new features that Microsoft has introduced. And later in my career on the partner side, I I got into that sort of architect certification. I think the architect certification really helped at the time because even though I could talk to the customer about all of those functionalities, the architect certification really allowed me to think, other than the functionality itself, what other things that I need to think about while doing a project, right? It could be security, could be the infrastructure, it could be the extensibility, it could be some other things, could be the risk management. How do you resolve conflicts to make sure the project delivery is smooth and we have all the things planned ahead of time instead of just troubleshoot all of those things while it comes. So I think architect certification. I have two of them. I think that is the if I have to make a recommendation, I would say architect certification is definitely the one that I recommend everyone to go after, regardless whether you are a functional consultant right now or a developer, or you're already in an architect role. Definitely look into those architect certifications that allows you to think a little bit more than what you're currently doing.
Yeah. In my role, I often work with clients and customers, and it surprises me how their priorities change just from company to company. Sometimes risk management is the most important thing to them, and other times security. You don't know if something's happened in their past, and that's been a big bugaboo for them. But yeah, in my role, I often think software, so I'm thinking functionality. That's not always uh, the only driver in a particular situation. So I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah.
Mm, so when you're working with partners, what specific challenges do you face, and how does that play out in the real world?
So speaking of challenges, I think it's always hard for partners to keep up to the date because there's
Mm,
so many things going on. If you look back 2 years back, that's the time where we introduced the AI, right? And ever since we got a lot of Copilot features, which is the sort of in Microsoft's terminology, that's um, the UX/UI of AI, right? How can you really leverage AI to resolve your issues? So there's a lot. There's really a lot in every single product that Microsoft has. We have probably 7, 8 Copilot features in Business Central nowadays. We have a whole lot more in Power Platform, in Azure, in Modern Work. So it's really hard for partners to keep up to the date with all the features. So that's also one part of my job to make sure I pass all of those good knowledge to our partners so they are kept up to the date and they can take all of those good things to their project delivery, project implementation, so the end user can actually get some benefits out of those AI functionalities we have.
that's fantastic, and that's only going to grow in the next few to 5 years. I can't imagine what's coming down the pike from Microsoft. So I'm excited to see. Uh, let's talk a little bit about Business Central and adoption. You work with customers and partners. Um, what would you say makes a customer successful in getting them started and having them adopt efficiently and effectively?
I would say training
Hmm.
is definitely one of the most important things. Despite you've done so many great work in Business Central for your customer, if you don't have a very good training and also testing stage in your project delivery, that could potentially lead to a huge failure, right? You want to make sure you pass all the good knowledges to your end users to make sure they understand what Business Central is possible of doing and why you configure certain functionalities the way it is. So I think that's very crucial. Um, there's multiple ways that you can do trainings. You can do virtual trainings. You can do
Hmm.
in-person trainings based on all of those past experiences and knowledges you have. You can also leverage MS Learn and all of those certifications that we have.
Hmm.
We have a ton of MS Learn materials on Microsoft's page. We also have right now 2 certifications for Business Central, one for the functional side and the other one is on the technical side. So definitely guide the customers towards all of those pages to have them spend some time really dig into those learning materials. And so when they about to go live, they know all the functionalities inside of Business Central.
Excellent. Excellent. Let me ask you this then. I know you work across several regions, North America, Canada, Latin America. Do you see differences region to region, or are there some uniformity among regions? What do you see out there as far as regionalization of the product and adoption?
Yeah, so first of all, Business Central is Microsoft's SMB ERP application. So one of the common things we see most of the time is when the deal comes in, most of them are SMB deals. So that's definitely that's across the board. It's exactly the same across all those three regions. But when it comes to the market itself, US and Canada, they have fairly mature market at the moment when it comes to Business Central. So we see the deal size and the user count has been gradually increasing over the years. It started with probably a couple of users, like 3-5 users. Now we see a lot of deals they have like more than 100 users in US and Canada.
Wow.
So for LATAM, it's a little bit different. It's one of the emerging market for Microsoft, especially for Business Central. It's growing very, very fast. In fact, it's probably one of the fastest growing market for Business Central. I think it's leading the growth by, I think it's 36%. If I remember it correctly, I checked the number this morning. It's 36%. It's definitely one of the fastest growing market.
Yeah.
The only thing is it's more focusing on the core Business Central itself. Partners are helping the customers to implement core Business Central functionality to get them start quick and easy. Unlike US and Canada, because it's a little bit kind of ahead of the game, a lot of customers, they are now leveraging heavily on the app source, on our community to leverage all the IPs that all our partners have been building. So that's a little bit different, but we are definitely planning ahead to make sure we pay close attention to the LATAM market. So when LATAM market is getting to the same stage as US and Canada, they can leverage all the apps and IPs that published and built by all the partners out there.
Excellent. So you mentioned SMB market, Tony. How would Microsoft define small and medium-sized businesses? Is there revenue thresholds or are there employee thresholds? And I know also that at least in North America, a lot of times the BC product is bumping up into maybe even large organizations. How do you see that going in the future?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I would say it's a little bit complicated, even inside of Microsoft, because we have SMB, we have SMC, which stands for small, medium, and corporate, and also enterprise, which is mainly those big enterprise companies. So first of all, BC is focusing on the SMB side, but as you were saying, sometimes we see BC deals expand a little bit to the SMC area. And we continue to see that trend for the past couple of years, especially the past 2 years. In terms of the definition of SMB, I don't think there's any sort of hard defined rules that says that if the revenue hits this threshold, we're moving this customer from SMB to SMC. It's mainly around the business that they're doing. So oftentimes I talk to my partners like, if your customer is comparing Business Central and F&O, finance and operation, both of them, they are Microsoft ERP applications. But if they are comparing the two, they don't know whether BC is a good fit or F&O is a good fit. We really need to look into what they want to do in terms of what they want to, how they want to leverage the ERP application, right? If they want to do some core accounting and finance in the ERP side of business, I think BC is definitely capable of doing that, regardless how many users you have, right? If you have 1,000 users, but you're doing core accounting, BC is the way to go.
Okay.
But if you have 10 users, but you're doing very, very advanced accounting, reporting, some other integrations with other applications, you might want to look into F&O. So it really depends on the business that they're doing. But yeah, it's a definitely complicated world that we have different definitions about the same group. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah. And do you see a lot more large and I don't know enterprise deals out there for BC? Is it growing in that direction, or is that just kind of one-off situations when it warrants?
Yeah, I would say the trend is definitely the BC deal is getting bigger and bigger. The user
Mm-hmm.
count is getting more and more. I won't say it's enterprise because
Okay.
if it's enterprise, we have F&O. We always want to recommend F&O for enterprise deal. But we definitely see Business Central is growing from SMB to SMC.
Mm-hmm.
I recently got a lot of requests coming from the partners saying, hey, you know what? I have a customer. They're concerning about whether BC is going to support their the amount of transactions that they have. Is BC going to be able to support that?
Mm-hmm.
So in short, BC is definitely capable of supporting that. We
Yeah.
are constantly investing in the infrastructure to make sure BC is capable of handling those large volume of transactions, and it's based on the amount of users that you have. So it's kind of dynamically growing and
Mm-hmm.
shrinking based on
Mm-hmm.
how many users you have. To give you some perspectives, if you have one user in BC, you can handle 6,000 requests per 5 minutes. That's for one user. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have two users, that will be 12K transactions every 5 minutes. And I was saying earlier that we see the BC user count is getting more and more. So if you have 10 users, there will be 60K transactions. If you have 100 users, that's 600K transactions.
Mm-hmm.
And those are API calls that you can make inside of
Mm-hmm.
BC. And you can also schedule some concurrent tasks if you want to do some automations, you want to kind of run some job queue jobs inside of Business Central. You can have 5 concurrent tasks every user. So that's also kind of growing if you have more and more users. And we also have some telemetries at Microsoft. We're tracking all of those transactions that happen in the live Business Central environments. We see there are some BC environments that they have more than 7 million web service calls in a day.
Wow. Okay.
They're running more than 300K scheduled tasks in a day
Uh-huh.
with
Uh-huh.
more than 2.6 million sales order lines. So those are the amount of records that BC can handle in a day, and that's not the upper limit. That's just what we see from the live transactions that we see. There are customers out there doing that large volume of transactions.
Wow.
So in terms of infrastructure, BC is definitely capable of handling those SMB, SMC customers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely not going to be any concern.
What do you see practically out there, Tony? What's the largest implementation of BC, and kind of what's the average?
The average, I would say, it's still probably 100K-ish. Even
Okay.
100K is a very good deal for BC. But we definitely have a lot of partners out there. They're doing 500K BC implementations, 1
Okay.
million or 2 million BC implementations. So yeah, it's definitely capable of doing that.
But what I meant was like number of users. Like,
Oh,
is the average number of users? Because I know you started at 2 or 3, and now we're talking about some implementations in the hundreds. Would you say the average is 40 or 50 or 20 or 30, and kind of what's the upper limit there, or if there is one?
there's definitely no upper limit in terms of
Mm-hmm.
how many users you can have in BC. The average, I would say, it's roughly 20,
Mm-hmm.
30 something.
Yeah.
And it's getting more and more every single
Mm-hmm.
year. So if we do this podcast maybe next year, I'm probably going to give you a new number.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely getting more and more.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay. Um, yeah. So I know, Tony, you're going to be a speaker at the Dynaway CONNECT conference this spring. I'm really excited about it, and I wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about that. I'd love for our listeners to kind of get a sneak peek into maybe what you'll be talking about at Connect and what your message is going to be to them.
Yeah. So I will have two sessions. I think it's one of them is the keynote about Business Central, where I will talk about all the new things coming to the market from 2025 release wave 1.
That'll be fun.
Yep, there's a lot of good things coming to the market. It could be new features. It could be some enhancements to the existing features. So I'm going to unfold all of those in the keynote. I will also talk about how Business Central can integrate with Power Platform for business users and citizen developers. So you don't have to have a developer to connect Business Central with Power Platform. So you can unlock a whole lot more, a lot good things from Power Platform to better enhance your Business Central experience. So those are the things I'm gonna talk about. And yeah, definitely come to the sessions. There are also some cool demos. I will see some demos live. So always fun to see demos live.
Yeah. You've probably gone to a bunch of these kinds of conferences and informational events. Kind of what's your take on how useful they are to customers and partners? Do you find that in your role and what you see out there in the ecosystem, does it impact businesses and partners? What should they expect to take away from something like this?
Yeah, so absolutely, they are impacting the business very, very positively. I love attending those conferences, getting together with the partners and the customers to just learn from them, right? What they like, what they don't like, so I can take some of the messagings and back to Microsoft. It helps us to shape the next version of the product. And I also think it's very good for partners to learn from each other's. What other partners are doing, whether there's any chance for them to establish some partner-to-partner relationship, and also good for customers to just be there and learn what other customers are using inside of Business Central. Can they unlock that potential? Can they leverage Business Central a little bit more to get inspired by other people? So yeah, I very much look forward to the conferences, to the Dynaway conference in April. So very, very looking forward to it.
Well, we're real excited to have you. And yeah, we've always felt like the networking and collaboration part of these conferences is fantastic. I learn a lot every time I go somewhere. And of course, I've learned a lot in previous Connect conferences. But I really feel like it's a opportunity to do two things, to network and get to know and be inspired, like you said, what's available and what's out there and get outside of your little box, but also, just to deep dive into functionality and what's coming next, like in your keynote, and learn so we can be a little bit more proactive and less reactive when it comes at us. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely.
Well, Tony, that kind of wraps it up for today. I appreciate your time. I just want to say to everyone out there listening, please, if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, please, give us a like, follow, and we're real excited to have you at the conference, Tony, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. And if you're on the fence about coming to the conference, Tony's going to be there. Come listen to him in person. It's a fantastic event.
Thank you, Jesse, for having me, and also have this nice little chat. I look forward to seeing you in person in April.
Yeah, see you soon. It's not far away.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
All right.